Your business is growing. So why does it keep getting harder? This is The Growth Ceiling. Strategy, structure, and straight talk for service-based founders who are done guessing.
Stephen Clark is the founder and CEO of RTG Group, a for-profit social enterprise attacking the root causes of hunger, homelessness, and poverty through corporate marketing budgets instead of charitable donations. Before RTG, Stephen spent 25 years in advertising, including an EVP seat at Saatchi & Saatchi, working on accounts like AT&T, P&G, and Toyota. Before that, he played professional hockey. He's an author, a speaker, and the co-founder of the Do Good Society, a membership program on track to hit 1 million members by the end of 2026. Stephen, welcome to the Growth Ceiling podcast.
No, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. All right. So you let's get right into it here. You talk about positive disruption, and that's our key point here today. Mm-hmm. Most people who talk about disruption, generally speaking, are talking about breaking things. You know, move fast and break things, right? What is the difference, and why does that distinction matter right now?
So yeah, I think we have to go back to when we first started. Because of the advertising, I never start anything without all the data, whether it's a campaign or a new company or a new product, whatever. So when we got that and we went through everything, we realized that the current charity nonprofit world in both Canada and the United States is really built to, they're the number one employer. The industry is the number one employer in Canada and number 3 in the United States. Think about the industries in the United States. They're number 3 with almost 14 million people. So they do good, but might not be considered doing good by others. You know, I give my money to feed a child, not to have somebody get paid. But those people, those 14 million people, you know, they're stimulating the economy, doing everything like that. So when we looked at it and said there's a new model needed, as a former creative business strategist, I said, well, that's true. You know, we were dealing with a research company. And I said, oh, that's true, but it's got to be done very, very strategically, very delicately, because it's not like they don't do good. Yes, causes are going up and all the things that we know, but they're still doing good just a mere thought of, you know, employing almost 17 million people in North America. That's pretty good. So that was why we dubbed it a positive disruption, because we wanted to meet our goals, which were obviously eradicating some of these causes that we've been faced for years. So that's how it all came to be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt at any point in your own career this idea of a positive disruption, or?
No, well,
okay.
I think I experienced it in hockey, because I was, my hero was Bobby Orr, who certainly positively disrupted the hockey sport with the way he played the position and changed it forever, is why he's the GOAT in my opinion. So, you know, I tailored my game after him. And so, you know, I saw it, didn't really know what that meant at the time. But yeah, I think that Bobby probably positively disrupted the hockey. Forever,
works on many levels. All right.
Yes,
that's good. All right. So speaking of professional hockey, what do you suppose playing at that level taught you about systems and team dynamics and pressure, and how do you still use that today?
Yeah, I think professional sports isn't what people think it is. You go into professional, you hit the professional level having played a game. When you get to the professional level, it's a business. It's an absolute business. And back in the day, it was even worse, because not like today, if you get hurt and you're out for 2 weeks and you come back, your spot is there, you go back into your spot. That's not the way it worked back then. You were out, you got hurt and you were out for 2 weeks, and you came back, you had to earn your spot back. That was a lot of pressure, because more and more people back then, including myself, would play with, you know, we probably got a concussion the day before or something, and we just sloughed it off. And we did a lot of those things. So the pressure was but, you know, I think for most part, I signed my first contract at 19. I mean, I was still a kid. I still had fun. Everything I did in life didn't matter what it was. So, but it was definitely a business. There was obligations you had to do, especially when I went to Sweden. As a Canadian playing in their elite series. So it was it was different, and that from a life perspective, I think is great. I think it really, the discipline, the things that you're taught. I mean, one of the greatest things I learned was to make sure after hockey that I always had a mentor, because we always have mentors. We have, whether they're coaches or managers or agents or whatever it may be. So I think that that's one of the reasons I was successful in my business career as an entrepreneur, is because I always surrounded myself with great mentors, because I was accustomed to doing that. So yeah, it was a great foundation for the rest of my life.
Nice. So, working as an EVP for Saatchi and Saatchi. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, Saatchi and Saatchi. Yeah.
Saatchi and Saatchi. What do you suppose that taught you about how large brands make decisions?
Well, I had built up a pretty large company myself, which I sold.
Okay. Prior to that, even, you say?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and then Publicis, which is the umbrella company and the main company that owns Saatchi and Leo Burnett and a whole bunch of others. So I went there, and I did that because it was a transition in my company, and then I've been dealing with large brands. In fact, I took one of the largest computer brand software companies through Y2K. That was SAP. That was my company with my client. So I've had a lot of experience doing that, and I think that the reality is, you just have to understand. And I was a strategist during that time. I became a creative business strategist. That was kind of role. And so it's always about the same as, when you're playing hockey or any sport, really, you're thinking about, it's like chess, when you're thinking two moves ahead, and where's this guy going to be, and where's the guy going to be, where, you never, Wayne Gretzky was great at saying, you never pass the puck where the guy is, you pass the puck where it's going to be.
Where it's going to be, yeah.
That was one of his great things. So that's what you have to do. And in business, it's the same way. So you kind of have to anticipate those things. And I think that, again, the sports foundation laid all that out for me.
Mm. Okay. So I don't know if this is an appropriate way to ask this, but was there a breaking point that moved you out of that selling brands into building a social enterprise? What was that?
So I talked a little earlier about mentors, and so I met Stephen Covey, authors, highly successful people. I worked with Stephen for 9 years.
Oh my gosh.
So a mentor and a friend.
Okay.
And Stephen was the first one, because we would talk a lot about sports. Stephen loves sports, by the way. And he was the first one to really put it in terms that I really came to understand, is that, life is like a book, and it's comprised of various chapters. Some of them you'll like, some of them you won't like. All of them you should be learning from. Some will be longer than others, and but they're just chapters. So my sports was abruptly after I blew up my knee. I had 6 operations. That was it. You never play again. It was over.
Yeah.
But that was, Stephen was really good at that. So when he used to ask me all the time about, and a lot of mentors will do this in different areas, but they will say to you, "What do you want on your tombstone?" I personally hate that question, because it's like, what do you want me to start thinking about when I'm dead? I mean, what are you talking about? But
Yeah.
Stephen was very persistent, because I think he knew I hated the question. But so I used to say, because he said, he'd say, "Oh, a professional hockey player, right? Who cares about that? What are you talking about? Oh, big advertising guy." Again, well, what do you want? And so finally one day I said to him, he made a positive impact. And he said, Stephen being Stephen, "Well, have you?" And instinctively, I'm like, "Of course I have. I've given millions to charities. I've been on boards and everything." And he's giving me that Stephen look, saying, "Come on, you're an overachiever, man. What is that? I mean, anybody can do that. Like, what are you going to do?" That kind of put that in my head. And then I started realizing, because I am spiritual, that is the reason. honestly, I believe that wholeheartedly, what I'm doing right now. So when
Yeah.
it came time and sold the company and transitioned it out and it's gone with Saatchi, and I said to my wife, I'm going to my next chapter is going to be, it might be my last one, because I this is what I'm here is to make a positive impact in the world. And
Mm.
that's when she said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, I don't know, but we're going to travel, which we did. And while we're gone, we're going to hire a research company to find out everything about the giving space in both Canada and the States. And that's what we did. And then when we came back, we went through all that, and that's how we ended up, doing what we're doing now. So
Mm.
that's how it happened.
Yeah, nice. My wife and I often find it funny to go through the papers. I don't know if this is appropriate, if it's
Yeah.
funny, but looking at people's, and I guess their obituaries and what they're known for, and they'll
Yeah.
often have like loved watching TV, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, like,
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll tell you this.
like,
But I think so many people just kind of like, walk through life, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't really understand the opportunity that's given them. But I was very poor as a kid growing up, and
mm,
because of my athletic ability was one of the reasons I think that I was able to get out of all that. But I learned so much, and for whatever reason, I just kept learning, and
yeah,
never made. Someone said to me very young, like, it's okay to make mistakes, just don't make them twice. And I didn't even
right,
get it at the time. I'm like, well, why not? I think that's what happened. And
yeah,
and the guys, I remember there was an older guy. Actually, he was a biker. That was that there. We weren't that far. Our home wasn't that far away from their clubhouse, and so he
mm.
kind of took me under his wing, and he said, "Well, because that's just stupid. If you're on your own, why would you do it again, right? Just give it back." I'm about 9, right? I'm like,
Uh,
okay, take it easy.
right, right. Yeah,
But yeah, it was a great lesson. I
yeah,
learned a
that's
lot of
good.
great lessons.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I reading through some of, your background and that kind of stuff, it turned up that I believe that there's a story with your late mother. Is that correct? And how that's kind of shaped your
Yeah,
relationship with homelessness and whatnot.
yeah, huge. We were. I said we were poor. My
Yeah.
mom would give her, like, she always taught me to. In fact, RTG, receiving through giving. She
Okay.
taught me it's better to give than receive, which obviously I know now is a flaw.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was just that we didn't have any, so it was really difficult. I used to think to myself always, shouldn't we get it first? But she was just honestly a saint. I mean, she really was. My dad, was an alcoholic. He wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't very reliable.
Yeah.
And so she just taught me so much, and it was about giving. It was about considering other people. She was really, really a big influence on me right up until she died, actually, about 10 years ago now. But I wanted to, this was just before I kind of got into this. And when that was one of the reasons, I said, well, I want to make my mother proud. I mean, we all want to make our
Yeah.
mother proud. But
Yeah.
I specifically said, I know this is why I was put here, and so I want her to be looking down and saying, yeah, this is exactly why I brought him. So, and that's very important to me. I think about that.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess at some point there along the way, um, homelessness and your focus on that became a more of a business problem rather than a charity problem. I guess that's kind of like,
So the reality was, as Stephen, you would say to me all the time, well, you need to decide what that is. What problem are you
Hmm,
going to solve? And I said, no. I said, no, you're wrong. I'm the strategist, not you. You're the freaking
mhm,
author, and you're a great business guy, but I'm the strategist, and I'm going to make a positive impact in the world. And the funny thing is this business model that we've created, which of course involves hunger and homelessness, this business model is not about hunger and homelessness. This business model is more about the industry
hmm,
because, for example, we just launched it's called PD, Purpose-Driven Transformation. And purpose-driven transformation, which will be in every major city in North America in the next 3 to 5 years. It goes into the city and it goes to all of the charities and nonprofits and says, give me your volunteers. And after we listen to the swearing and everything, we're like,
hmm,
no, here's why. because volunteerism is really down, dropped significantly. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
bring it back. We're going to make it cool again. And the way we're going to do that is they're not going to be volunteers anymore. They're going to be Do Good Society ambassadors.
Gotcha.
And a Do Good Society ambassador can do our program with no objections, like where's the money going, all the transparent, no objections. Get it to 4870, take a portion of that 4870 that we do, give that back to their charity of choice, and we can still pay them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 80 million volunteers in North America can't get paid. It's illegal. Now we've got a model to turn them into ambassadors for a for-profit social enterprise, and everybody wins. So now when we go into a city, diabetes, AIDS, cancer, all of those causes now are going to be positively through our model.
Mm.
We're going to clean up the city. That's what's called purpose-driven transformation. The transformation every city, get rid of the hunger, get rid of the homelessness, but also reduce a lot of these other causes. So that's really what I'm on.
Okay. Real quick, just before we move on from there, do you feel looking at your hockey advertising social enterprise now, is there a pattern that you see there that's connecting all three of those?
Yeah, I think there's certain things that I probably learned early on, probably even before hockey. You know, the discipline, the toughness. I read very early on. Somebody gave it to me. I think it was Bob Proctor, because he was in Toronto, and I think I was there some when I was a teenager. And he gave me Think and Grow Rich, which, by the way, I still have always.
Napoleon Hill?
Right?
Yeah,
Napoleon, greatest book ever.
yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned. And so I read that, and Napoleon Hill says in there's a secret in the book, which is all built around the book and everything. That, and some of you will find it, some of you won't. Some of you will think you've got it. It's not really what I was intended. But the first time I read it, it was Bob, because Bob said to me, "What did you get out of the book?" I said, "Well, I got one thing. You know, that's really the only real thing I needed." He's like, "What?" I said, "That everything's about your belief system." And Bob read it. I said, "What? What did you say?" I said, "Well, it's right in there. The quote is, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it." Well, conceive it, any idiot can do that. I mean, it's just dreams or whatever. And achieving is the end result. So there's only one word left. And man, that's the deal right there. So I developed really early on the ability to get an unwavering belief in myself and what I was doing. And that's been honestly any success I've had, and I've had a lot. This one's going to be huge. I mean, we expect 20 to 25 million members in the next 4 or 5 years. So that's a $12 billion company. But that's all because of the belief. I should never, I mean, based on what I've gone through, especially this one, no, I shouldn't still be doing it. We're self-funded. I spent millions of my own money. I just should have said, forget this. These guys can have this. But even my wife said, are you still there? I'm like, are you kidding me? Stronger than ever. These guys, I don't care what they say. They're just wrong. And it turns out now some of those same ones that told me what an idiot I was and everything else are now coming back and saying, okay, that's a polite word. It's a lot worse than that we got.
Yes.
And especially from some of the biggies in the industry, the CEOs of some of the biggest charities, you can't be this, you can't do that. I'm like, you're going to find out one day that it's not only can I and am I going to, but it's going to benefit you. No, as I said, some of those people, same people, are now coming back and say, how do we work together? Absolutely. That's the way it is, and that's how we built it.
So on this podcast, we talk about three pillars, right?
Yep.
Visibility of the business, right? Are you being seen by the people that you want to be seen by, right? Your ideal audience. Does everybody on your team have access to the information that they need so that, internal visibility, right? Viability, does the business run? Does it stand on its own two legs? And then, of course, if you have both of those things, then your business is more valuable, right? So just to kind of go off of that,
Yeah.
How are you approaching like visibility in like the Do Good Society, for example?
So this is relatively new for us. We were focusing on other areas, and then we realized that because we have some other announcements for, excuse me, later this year that are going to be really, excuse me, mind blowing. So we have the visibility that we want right now, but it will start to grow as we launch these PDTs, because PDT in every city is partnered with the Do Good Society, and they're the ones that are taking it to the volunteers. The real exposure, funny enough, will not come on digital, which everyone obviously would think it would, but it's really going to come from these volunteers who've been doing this for every year. In Toronto, we just launched PDT Toronto, and there's 1.3 million volunteers in Toronto, and there's about 120,000 of those that raise money. So we have 120,000 salespeople waiting for us
Yeah.
to open this thing up.
Yeah.
And
None of whom are getting paid currently, right?
not getting paid. It's illegal to get paid. So all of a sudden, we're saying we're going to remove the transparency, which, by the way, that's a huge issue, right? Because people know, where's my money going? What's the impact it's making? And these poor volunteers are like, oh, well, here's the thing that they're giving me. And, they're saying, oh, that's bullshit. I mean, they're having issues. That's one of the reasons why it's dropping. So we remove that. We tell them right away, here it is. So it's all there. So so that's the real. That was always the secret sauce of us really taking it out. And then the corporate program, which you had mentioned a little bit before, the ROI squared. So that goes into the corporations, because the corporations, for example, in the United States, they give total, all the corporations in the United States give $25 billion a year to the charities and nonprofits. Those same corporations spend $500 billion a year on marketing. I'm not a nonprofit or charity. You know why they give that money. They might give it to do good. I'm not suggesting they don't, but they do it for tax reasons. And the reason it's 25 billion is because the government, as we know in both countries, they cap that. You can only give so much based on your gross profits. So that's all they can give and still get tax receipts. And they're not giving out the tax profits. So forget that. So that was fine with me, because I was 25 years in the marketing advertising world. So I created probably arguably the number one, or certainly will be this year, number one marketing program in the world, where a company can not only do our program and get a guaranteed return on the investment, but they can also get a return on impact, because that money's going to our memberships, which is, of course, as you know, the children in homelessness. So that's how we kind of did it. And so visibility is it's also very strategic, when people don't realize this. They just want to get out there and get everything done. But it's got to be very strategic how you roll things out. You can't just all of a sudden you get a bunch of money and you start doing ads and all that kind of stuff. It's got to be very, very smart, so that when people get it, you actually will grow a business faster off of going slower, because the people then that get the membership and everything, they start talking about all the savings, and you get the videos of them saving money and all this, and that's going to generate more and more, and then faster, and it picks up like that. It's like a snowball. So that's
a lot of user generated content in that case, and
tons
testimonials
of it, right? Testimonials from people who actually, regular people paying $48.70 a month, and they got the best. A lady went in Vancouver, Canada, just said, we saved $1,300. Actually, it was perfect, because they're boomers, and they take 3 trips a year, and they save $1,300 on the one trip. So she called me, and we actually got it. She said, my husband's going to join as well. And so I didn't understand. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Why? He doesn't have to join. You've got, your membership includes the two of you, right? She says, no, we feel guilty. We're paying $600 a year. Yeah, she said, we paid $600 a year. We saved $1,300 on one trip. We feel guilty, so he's going to join as well. And I'm like, well, you don't have to do that. She said, no, we're doing it. I mean, we got 2 more trips, and we got the restaurants and everything else. So it was really, really funny. Great. It's going to be a great video, guys. Those are the types of things, right? You can use those to get into, baby boomer clubs and ones who want to leave a legacy and stuff like that. So, that's how you grow. And so it's very strategic.
One of the things that I like to talk about with, with the value pillar
Yeah,
is referrals, right? How
yeah,
key that is to a
yeah.
business. Word of mouth, getting people talking about you, but you got to do something to get them to talk about,
Yeah, for
right? So
sure.
that's the
Absolutely.
key.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. You got to
obviously,
do
you guys have that nailed down. It sounds
that.
like, yeah,
Yeah, we've got one of the secret sauces is in our corporate one is we don't when we take a marketing budget from one of the clients, we don't do the marketing for the client. We do the marketing for us. We turn that money into members. And then because of that, then we can do things like, get into and buy different products from the client to guarantee the ROI, and then do really cool stuff with that product. So it's really kind of a transitional thing, and we're also recycling money that will
gotcha.
continue to go over and over and over because according to AC Nielsen, which we hired to vet our membership model, they said, on average, people will be in your membership for a minimum of 10 years because
Mm,
said, same as 19-year-old kids said in our focus groups, why would we stop? Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. If you're doing what the lady's doing and she's saving 3-4 times just on trips, and then she's got
Mhm,
all the other perks app, why would they stop? And
mhm.
that's the whole idea.
So just for, the
Yeah.
listeners' clarification here, the way your model works is that do you approach the corporate entities, that have something that they want to get out there, or are they approaching you? How does that usually work?
No, so because of my background, obviously I have a lot of corporate world that I know, especially bigger brands. So
Yeah.
I can go to a corporation and say, give me $1 million of your marketing budget, and I
Mhm.
know I know what they are. Sometimes I set them. So give me $1 million, and I'm going to turn that into a guaranteed $1 million in sales. Of course, the millions are right off for them; it's part of their offer. So $1 million in sales is cool.
Mhm.
And because CMOs these days are now challenged by the board and the CEO to turn some of that into sales, it's not just about
Yeah.
branding and everything anymore. Now you got to show some sales. They love that. And then when we tell them that then what we're doing with those sales, how we integrate them into the community and all these different things,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real win-win. It's very strategic, and it's a real win-win-win.
Yeah.
And
Are
yeah, that's how we do it.
are
Mhm.
the businesses then that you're working with, they're turning that around and saying, "Hey, look at the good that we're doing."
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
kidding
yeah,
me?
yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So that's why we call it
Yeah.
ROI squared. Return on
Right.
investment
Yeah.
plus return on impact, right?
Ah,
And
okay.
they love that. In fact, in
Yeah.
some of the cases, because these are, they're larger brands and they have their own agency of records. In
Mhm.
some cases now, the agency of record interjected themselves and saying, okay, we're doing this, but we got to kind of do it together because we want to take, when you're giving that car away or when you're doing that, we want to take we want to shoot that for some commercials
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? So,
Yeah.
so it's starting to get even bigger than we thought it was going to be when you get into
Mm.
some of these brands,
Yeah.
and so it's going to take. I mean, it's starting to take off right now, but
Mhm.
this was our year. Um, and we got hit. We had Wells Fargo as a client, and then COVID hit and everything like that, and a bunch of other things with Wells
Yeah.
Fargo. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know about that. That's funny. I'll tell you one thing that hardly anybody knows is that during that 2 years, they very quietly pretty much let go of everybody.
Oof.
Oh yeah,
They were at one point the fastest rising, fastest growing bank in America, I believe, for
they're the
sure.
largest bank in America, and they got
Yeah.
the largest, still to this day, the largest corporate fine of $3 billion.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be talking. We should edit this out.
That's no joke, but
No, no, but we had such a great program for them because they were gonna do it in every branch in every city. I mean, it was really a cool
was,
program.
was this after the fact? Like they were trying to improve the image? Is that the?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
this was
Before.
beforehand, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
and then they got here was the problem. Then they got the fine
Yeah.
before COVID,
Mm.
and so they're like, "Well, we're not sure." And I'm like, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Let me tell you. I'll paint two scenarios. This is what's going to happen. Number one, Wells Fargo, 3 years from now, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, aren't they the thing that got the $3 billion fine for the fictitious account? That's one scenario. Second
Yeah.
scenario, if you continue to do the program, Wells Fargo, aren't they the bank in America that's ending hunger? Yes, you are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So right
Exactly.
away, they're like, yeah, you're absolutely right, right? Absolutely. But then,
Uh,
a few months after that, then COVID hits,
yeah.
and then blah, blah, blah. And then,
Through everything. Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Wow.
it just got canceled. And
Amazing.
so, yeah, it was an interesting time for us because we were really, I mean, we had all in on that. I very seldom do
Yeah.
something like that, but
Yeah.
it was a huge client and huge opportunity and
Yeah.
millions of dollars,
Oh,
which
yeah.
we lost a lot because of
I
it.
can only imagine.
Mm,
Good grief. So
yeah.
you came this close to being the one who rehabbed their image.
Oh, and not only that, we would be right now, if that had happened, we would be, I would tell you right now, honestly, we would be at least 25 million members right now if that had
Wow.
went through. At least 25
Wow.
million. At 50 bucks
Yeah.
a head. So think about that, right? So
Yeah.
now we're up to 13 billion a year. And look at the good we're doing. In fact, we would have almost eradicated or everything we can of the homelessness for sure.
Wow.
It would have been
Wow.
gone. And hunger, we would have dropped almost in every city to single digits. Right now, there's not a city in North America that doesn't have double digits in food insecurities. So that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
that was just bad timing, but we kept going. So here we are. We're about to do it.
So RTG,
Mhm.
um, there's 6 programs involved, right? As I
Yeah, well,
understand it.
so there's programs and there's companies.
Okay.
So, like for example, a Do Good Society is a company.
Okay.
Predominantly those is most of them are owned the majority by RTG Group USA,
Hmm.
but some of them are program. ROI Squared is a program. The
Gotcha.
benefactor is a program. So there's some that are programs. PDTs are all individual companies in every city. We play around with them as well. In Canada, for example, 8 cities launching this year. Every one of them will be 100% women-owned and operated for-profit social. So we're just trying something different. And in Toronto, and already it's kind of taken off. People love that. And there's 70% of the women, there's 70% of the workforce in the charity world is women. So we
Hmm.
figured if we're going to have a program and develop a company that's going to actually solve the problem, it should be run by women. They're the ones
Hmm.
doing the work anyway. So that's why we set that up. Plus, my wife insisted on she'd get a
Hmm.
nonprofit and she wanted a for-profit as well. I'm like, okay, here's what we'll do. So she's got that. She's the majority on everyone.
So are you just for
Yeah.
clarification, the fund that you're generating, you're using for social good.
Mhm.
How are you dispersing those funds exactly? Like how is that getting, are you going through nonprofits then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah,
yeah,
we go
okay.
into every city, every community, and we make deals with food and homeless shelter. The homeless program is our program. If we can't find anybody in the city, which we haven't so far, it's been good. But our program for homeless, eradicating homelessness, and 40% of the 4870 goes to that program. That is for job training, guaranteed jobs, and subsidized housing. Not affordable, subsidized, very important. Every
Yeah,
city's got enough to, even LA has got enough to put the people there, but not when you're talking about affordable. No
yeah,
city in America or Canada has enough affordable housing. So they
yeah,
keep blaming it on that. I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? You've got all these vacancies and everything. Well, they can't afford that. That's why we do subsidized housing, right? So
mm,
anyway,
mm,
so that's what we do there. And then the food charities. The only thing we ask from all of our partners is that they be very transparent. We must be transparent to our partner. How many meals, right? So we started with Feeding America. Obviously, they're the biggest, 4.3 billion. And
yeah,
then as we went into the local cities, I think it started with Atlanta, we got kind of, it wasn't pushback because they all deal with Feeding America, but it was, if you're coming into Atlanta, opening here, you can deal directly with us. We can, do more for the city rather than this big national thing. So we made deals with the right ones who would provide us with the actual things, the numbers, because we're actually building it right now where we do a quarterly impact report. that will be on our websites. And we want every member to be able to go
Yeah.
and get that if they want to see it and all the other stuff. We want to be very, very transparent, and we want them to see exactly where their money's going. But if you
Mm.
go to our website, I'm not sure if you have, but you go to the member, you can actually see the breakdown of exactly where it's going
On
to money.
Do
Remember,
Good Society, is that
Good
the one?
Society. If you click on member,
Yep.
you'll see one of the slides has got exactly where the $19.48 going to the homeless situation.
Gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
40% of the 48.70, and then X amount
Yep.
going to food. It tells it right there, and that's why we're
$7 for
getting help.
food,
Yeah, and
7.50 for overhead. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, so we've got they say, well, what's your overhead? Well, it's 15%. Well, how
Yeah.
much money do you make? $2.85.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
48.70, you make 285. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we make.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't tell me that
That's
it's not going
that's
to be
got to be
profitable.
better than average.
Yeah, well, I think it's less than half of average. But
Well,
so
I mean, in terms of like, how does this stack up to like a normal nonprofit budget, let's say?
yeah, we're our overheads are less than half.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But in all fairness to them, they're kind of, here's the one thing, and I've talked about this. Nonprofits and charities are businesses. You register as a
Yeah.
business, and then you
Yeah.
decide to go nonprofit or charity. You register with that. But the reality is they're a business. So the average business will every time they get a sale in, 1/3 goes to overheads. I mean, that's just natural business. My business, everybody does.
Yeah.
So that would be 33%. Now, excuse me. Having said that, if it was only 33%, it might be okay, but it's not. And we can go.
Yeah.
Anybody can go right now and find out what it is
Yeah.
by just going to ChatGPT or Gemini or whoever you want to go. It'll tell you, and it's not good. But again, I look at that as not a bad thing if they're employing all these
Yeah.
people. I mean, wow, that's a good thing for society and everything else. I mean, here's
Yeah, people employed who actually want to try to improve the situation,
exactly
okay, that's great. Let's just
great
let's
intention.
let's have more of those. Yeah.
They just need
Yeah.
help. That's
Yeah.
you strip it all away. My conclusion was these guys all have great intentions. They're all good people. They just need somebody to help. That's all.
Mm.
Not change. Not doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Just work with me on these volunteer things and all that kind of stuff. I even had a recent CEO of a big charity that originally said, "There's no way you're getting my people because they have the disease, so they're not going to go out and do this." And I said, well, let's ask them. And we did the whole thing. And by the end of it, every one of them was saying, of course we're going to do this because we're still raising more money for the charity of choice. And there's no transparency issues because that money comes from us. That money comes through us to the charity. So we know where it's going.
Yeah.
So even that CEO said, this is actually great. I never thought I would live to see something like this that wasn't trying to destroy the industry, but was actually trying to win it. So,
Yeah, there's something to be said about transparency, I think, with nonprofits because, there are like organizations that are explicitly set up to show the transparency of the nonprofits, like
yeah, you would think so.
What is
Yeah,
going on there,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I
And
think the
so
problem with that, just to be clear, is that
yeah,
a long time ago they were kind of, really just focusing on all the good they were doing and all this other stuff and everything. And so as it got to be more obvious, they were hiring more people and everything like that. They never really made that decision to say, hey, let's just tell these people that, this amounts 50% is going to the overheads and all this other stuff or whatever it may be. They just kept, doing the same thing over and over again because it was the way things were done. And so who would have, thought 25 years ago that AI was going to be out and be able to tell them everything. So
mm,
I think now they're in a little bit of a problem. But again, as long as they have models, and I hope other people will create models like we've got, so that will help them to do it. Because who wants to disrupt 17 million employees? I mean, I want them to keep doing that all the time. So,
mm.
so I think that we can work together and really solve some of these problems.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see here. So my audience tends to be like service-based
Yep.
business owners and that kind of thing. I also do work with nonprofits, incidentally,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
most, a lot of, well, I won't say most, many service-based business owners,
Yep.
founders, they tend to treat referrals as kind of like a nice to have
Yep.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
But here you are, you've built your entire model around that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so what are the business, what are the founders, what are they missing when they treat these referrals as a marketing tactic instead of an actual business design choice? Like if this is a strategic choice that we're making here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the reality is that referrals on the surface, it sounds like a good idea, but it's not executed properly, right? It's like, you go out. I used to kid people all the time. They'd say, you got all these people. I mean, can you refer? I say, yeah, okay. So what's the deal there? Well, I have this referral thing. So you refer, I get the client, and I give you a commission. I used to say exactly this. Okay, let me just get this straight. So I should stop doing my business. I should go out and get you referrals so
Right,
you can
right.
grow your business and I can get some commission. Is that what you're telling me basically? And they would all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm like, well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what you're asking. Let's create a win-win where we can go together.
Mhm.
I used to create in my business, I used to create meetings, networking
Speaking
meetings.
of speaking of
Yeah,
Stephen Covey, by
yeah,
the way,
yeah.
win-win, right? Thinking
Stephen Covey,
win-win.
Stephen was brilliant. Taught me so much. And yeah, we do win-win-win. That's all we talk about. So
Yeah.
I used to do this all the time with, especially the financial groups. I got some clients, big clients, Manulife and stuff, and they would be doing these things. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Don't you grow from referrals? Yeah. Okay, so then why aren't we having 5 different companies doing this event together? You're one of them. We get a real estate company. We get this and all these guys. And then the people who are coming to real estate, they're going to get to hear you. People who are coming from this, they're going to get to hear you. And the people, all these different things. And you put it together. Isn't that the greatest way to get referrals?
Mm.
And they're like, whoa, what a great idea. Honest to God, I'm like, well, not really. I mean, I would think it's pretty obvious, but obviously it wasn't. So those are the types of things where you say, okay,
Yeah.
let's get together. I used to sit with other CEOs sometimes and say, okay, bring out your client list. Okay, I'll bring out mine. Let's go through them. Which one do you? I really want that one. Okay, cool. I really want that one. Okay, let's start making introductions. That's how we
Hmm.
can grow. Never mind commissions and all that other crap. Who's got time for
Hmm.
that? We're building our
Hmm.
businesses. So it's how you
Hmm.
do it. There's nothing, referrals are great, but how you do it is how effective they'll be. Otherwise, people
Yeah.
just stop. You give a guy 3 or 4 and he doesn't close anything or whatever. So you've really just kind of wasted your time now. And you don't have
Yeah.
time to waste. Nobody's got time to waste. I mean, business is you're busy all the time. So there's
And
ways to
and
do it though, so you can grow together.
and like the Do Good Society is growing based around referrals a lot because these
Yeah.
volunteers are telling other volunteers, presumably, right? And
We get
it just kind of
volunteers. Yeah,
snowballs. Is that?
we get those referrals. We get referrals all the time from our members now. They're referring other people, saying, "I got the
Gotcha.
savings. I
Yeah.
just saved $1,300.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this." And the other thing is that our perks app. So I tell all the members. By the way, when you go into a restaurant, ask them if they're part of this. This is the Do Good Society, and if they say no, say here, and we put a QR code on their phone. They click that QR code, and they find out all the way they can be involved, which costs them nothing. We
Hmm.
don't charge them anything. So
Yeah.
now imagine that as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
restaurant owner or whatever. I'm going to get free leads, not just
Right.
leads, they're clients, and I don't pay anything to the company who got it to me. I just give the discount to my client.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great deal. That's how we
Yeah.
set it up. Yeah.
So are you like, are you mainly focused on like large urban centers, or is this like you're looking for like every small town and
Well, we're
across the North
starting. Yeah, we're
America?
starting with the
Yeah,
majors,
okay.
obviously,
Okay,
and then
okay.
we'll spread out.
Yeah,
Toronto, for example, is over 6 million people now in the greater
yeah.
GTA. So we can do in Toronto and then hit all those other places as well. But then there are are other cities like, north of Toronto, Barrie, and a few places like that, that are going to get their own. We were just asked actually about an hour outside of Toronto, in London and Cambridge and Kitchener. They want their own. They have a food problem. So
Yeah.
they've asked, would we put a PDT there? Of course we will put a PDT. That's
Wow.
our goal. They don't have to be all, feeding or having 200,000-300,000 members. We can have some that are 50 members that we get or whatever. So yeah, we just want to solve the problem where we can.
Yeah.
That's our goal. That's what we do.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess going back to referrals a little bit here,
Yep.
what would you say is the difference between asking a customer for a referral versus building a business where the whole concept of referrals is inevitable? Like,
Well, I think if you can do that, I think I see nothing wrong with asking customers for a referral for sure.
yeah.
Customers, I mean, I built my entire business. My advertising company, which grew very large, honestly was built around SAP, the third largest business software company in the world. When I got them, they had one employee in North America.
Wow.
And as they grew, because they had the only 4-digit code at the time before the whole Y2K thing, and their client base became, huge. And I created all these marketing initiatives for them. And in those, we do cross-country tours, for example. We'd have Hewlett Packard, Deloitte, all these different companies who all became my clients because I had the main guy, right? And I
Yeah.
get to know them all. And then I would go to the vice president of sales and I'd say, hey, do me a favor, introduce me to the VP of sales there at Hewlett Packard. Absolutely. And he'd always wait till we were doing a big event. And then he'd say, oh, Steve, here, I want to introduce you. This is the guy who does all of our stuff here. Like, you should be using him, right? The guy's like, great, fantastic. Here's my card. That's how we grew. We literally grew off that one client. I mean, we had other clients, but from that one, that's how we got so big. And that's actually why we ended up selling the company, because those clients got so big that, other than the big, large guys wanted them. So that was kind of perfect timing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The referral tour.
That was what it was. And I didn't build it on that. I would never tell somebody that's smart, but that's how it worked. And and I built such a great relationship with SAP that they relied on me for everything. And I was making, I remember telling the head of marketing, like, I'm here just to make you look good. So don't give me credit for anything. I'm not interested in that. I want the business. I want to grow. My business it wasn't very large at the time. It became very large because of that. But that was the whole idea. And, make other people look good and you're going to benefit from it. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Help other people get what they want. So
Absolutely.
You'll get what you want, right?
Stephen was great. Brian Tracy's great at it, but providing value. Provide value to people. I mean, that's the real key. I mean, that's what you want to. If it wasn't doing a positive impact in the world on my tombstone, it would be he provided value to others. That was the other one.
Nice. So your part of your leadership philosophy is shift the focus. Is that right?
That is my. That is a program that I was coming across so many people that were having problems, financial. It started with financial problems, right? I mean, especially in the COVID and a whole bunch of things. And so I always had inadvertently, I just did it because I realized from my mentors who were really good that focusing on a problem is totally useless. I mean, honest to God, it's one of the dumbest things we do as human beings. Because you can recognize it, you can acknowledge it, but why would you want to focus on it? That's not going to solve any problems. So I start shifting the focus to nothing but solutions. And I would solve the problem all the time. And then I'd have somebody and I'd say, and they'd come to me and say, I need some help. Here's what's happening. And they talk for half an hour about the problem. And I would say, oh, that's all. That's great. That's a real problem. How much time have you spent on solutions? And honest to God, they look like I had 3 heads. Like, what do you mean by that? So I created Shift the Focus, STF. And I actually have a course and everything, a giveaway. And it's really, really good. It's helped a lot of people.
Mhm.
And you can't believe if I'm sitting down and talking to somebody in a half an hour, from the time they sat down to the time they leave, they're not even the same person because they're
Yeah.
just focusing over here now. That gives people hope. That gives them drive.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now I know what to do. It's like a
Yeah.
path. You've
Yeah.
given them the path. And
Yeah.
so that's one that I just created, and my wife and I live it all the time. We're still
Nice.
not without problems. I mean, the world is
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
of problems, and it's
Yeah.
my wife's father just
There's
passed away.
problems and then there's problems, but
That's right. But either way, they
yeah.
will not go away unless you focus on the solutions.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just will stay forever if you just keep
I,
focusing on the problem. So yeah, shift your
I've been
focus.
told
Yeah,
that I focus too much on the problems at various
most
times in my
people do.
life, and
Yeah,
someone told me one time, like the kind of like what you're saying here, that the way they phrase it was, don't worry so much about how it can't be done, but think
yeah.
about how it can,
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
So,
That's shifting the focus, right there.
yeah, yeah,
No, that's great advice, and
I love that.
I still help a lot of people because my wife has immigrant women in business. So you get the immigrants come over, they're not sure, they don't
Yeah,
know what to do, and they're just focused on the problems. And so we shift
yeah,
them. We helped a lot of them, so we still
nice,
do today.
nice.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay, do you all right, let's see here. So you're aiming for 1 million members by the end of 2026,
This
30
year, yeah.
million meals per month.
Uh-huh.
What has to be true for that to happen?
We just have to stay the course. I think that one of the things that we're looking at right now is for the first time we're going to raise some money. We're self-funded, but we realize that's not really, especially where we're going, that's not really a great strategy because, as you probably know, the financial world is, all around other people's money. And so when you tell them there are no other people's money in something, that's like a negative thing almost. It's like, what are you talking about? We put millions in. Yeah, they don't really like that. So
Hmm.
I've been told by our people. So we're doing that with the PDTs. We have really cool programs there for the people in the communities. So they
Hmm.
can, for example, do 5-year loans, where they double their money in 5 years at 14.8% compounded annually.
Oh, for people that are interested in funding
They can
the
loan, they
mission.
can make
Okay.
5-year loans. And so
Wow.
that's a great thing. And it's their community. We say, hey, it's your city, Toronto, your city, Detroit.
5 years,
So
200% return. Is that what you're saying?
no, it's
Or
so
double?
14.8%. So they double their money.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
in 5 years. So and
Misunderstood.
those, by the way, those were the ones we got from the VCs. What
Uh,
would you be comfortable with? Not the big things, but what would you be comfortable, investing other people's money? So we were told, roughly 15% would be fine if it was compounded annually. So that's why we
wow.
did this. So because we do plan, RTG Group USA will probably go public in the next 5.
Nice.
We want to go
Nice.
global. We want to do a bunch of different things, and so um, yeah. In fact, we do our first global program next month. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, it's going to be really cool because everything has to be in North America. The one thing that we have is North America, especially the United States. The United States is one of the worst countries for helping other people and having this huge problem themselves. And nobody wants to recognize it, right? 75,000 people live in the streets of LA,
Yeah.
75,000 people, and they're worried about all this other stuff. It's got to stop. You have to keep a certain percentage, here. And Canada's almost the same, not as bad, of course, but
Yeah.
we have to look after ourselves. So my model was built to do US first. But
Mm.
now with some countries, Nigeria, India, saying, we love your model, how can we work together? So we're saying, okay, we can do it. We can do it here. And then because we're revolving that money, we can do the give back and feed kids there. Same way, we just find charities that are going to do the same thing, and we can do that. So we're
Mm.
starting now. Next month will be our first one, our first global one, and then I think this year we'll probably have about 6. It looks like, but still, got to start here. Got to feed them here. Got to do the homeless here, and then with as we recycle that money, that goes back there as well. So it's gonna. So we're gonna go public. It's gonna be a big deal. I think this is probably my last year. I will go starting in January. I will have a CEO in Canada, CEO in the States, and then I will focus on just kind of specialty projects.
Mm.
Got some really cool ones, like the benefactor program. You know, that was really cool when I created. I want to put a small team and go after all the charities and nonprofits and say, become a member of the benefactor program. It's a win-win-win. Go to our website, look at the everything's there. The deck is there. You guys can't lose with this, and you'll be able to. You want to pay your CEO $1 million? Go ahead, pay him whatever you want. If you're part of the benefactor program, nobody can say anything if 100% of your donation is going directly to the cause because you have a benefactor. That's a great program. So we're doing programs like that, and I want to just focus on those specialty programs because I think they'll allow us to scale faster and do more good. So
that sounds like it could be in its own episode.
oh, that one's going to be so much fun for me because I've never liked the implementation. I don't like the operation side of things. But when you're starting and everything, you're doing a bit of everything, right? And so I made the commitment. I told the team, that's it. This is it for me. So we got to get the right people in place. That's why each PDT is independently operated, their own partners. They get the staff. So I don't have anything to do with those. And so it's being set up. We're there. We'll be there by the end of the year for sure. And when we hit that million, now we've got great everything, right? Everything is in great shape. We've got great partners. Now nobody can say anything. I mean, that puts us at over 600 million a month or 600 million a year. So all of a sudden, what are they going to say? It doesn't work. Yeah. What's $1 million times $50, right? So it's 50 million a month. So all of a sudden, it's like, wow, these guys are the real deal. Yeah, absolutely. And that will only be a small percentage of where we're actually going. So it's time. It's like everything else, right? Right time, right place, and we just happen to fall in with everything, and it was like the perfect storm, right? CMOs wanting all these things, corporations now, 75% of Gen Zs saying, I only want to work, and this is a really important one. I only want to work or buy products off of companies who are providing, this is the key, a measurable positive impact. They're using that word now.
Really?
Basically what that means is, don't tell me how much you gave to a charity or nonprofit. We don't care.
Yeah.
We now know where that money's going. We grew up in AI now. We know all that stuff. So that's not measurable. If that's what you're selling, forget it. We've actually developed some programs for companies, some organizations and stuff like that through our membership model now, Duke Society, they're going to implement it into what they're doing so they can have this ongoing measurable impact. Yeah. Lots of opportunities for sure. Yeah.
So that sounds really incredible. One of my questions was, I'm going to say 18 months from now, what does success look like? I think you've just hammered that out. But
yeah, pretty much. That's it. We've hit these numbers. We tend to kind of hit our numbers. We make them, and we justify them all every time. Monthly or whatever, we say, okay, we're going to be 100,000 by the end of this. So how are we going to do that? I'm always big and say, okay, exactly how, and who's going to do what? There's the deal, right? We all buy into it. We have all the team meetings on Mondays, and we buy into what we do every week. Stephen, start with the end in mind. Tony Robbins is big on that as well. That's where you got to go. You got to reverse engineer it. Stephen was great on that, saying, "Well, here's where you are. This is where you want to be. So how we got? What do you have to do to get there?" Right?
Exactly.
And then we start with the end in mind, and then we reverse engineer it. So what do you need to do every month? What do you need to do every week? What do you need to do every day? He was brilliant on that. He really drove that into me. So
I think about that all the time. Like every day, I think that pops up for some reason.
Yeah, you know what? It's so sound, and it really gives you it when you do that exercise as well. Again, it's like shifting the focus, right? Now it doesn't matter where you are today. Well, I'm not where I want to be. Okay, acknowledge that. Okay, great. But where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there? Okay, let's do that. That's shifting the focus. Same as with the problems and solutions. So
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get wrapped up here. What would you tell a founder? They know that they need to disrupt their own business model, but maybe they're afraid of what that change will cost them. What would you say to them?
I'd say, again, shift the focus as to where you're going to be doing what you're doing today, And you have to be honest with yourself. This is the first thing I tell all founders. Be honest with yourself. If you're not happy where you are right now, where do you want to be? And what's it going to take to be there? And they'll come up with it themselves. So, well, I need to change this and this and this. Exactly. That's what you need to do. So I can tell you right now, I use course correct. I don't use pivot. I use course correct. Because you know what? If I've done anything, sometimes again, what's the one thing I say right away? Course correct. And some people say, what does that mean? That means that I get off track so many freaking times. It's funny, just like a plane does. He's flying from Detroit to New York to LA. It's going all over the place. But the autopilot keeps course correcting, right? And so by the time you get there, it's the deal. Now, ideally, they want it to fly a straight line, but there's no way. That's not going to happen. So we're the same in business. You got to constantly course correct. You got to look at it. You've got to look at where you are, where you want to be constantly, and don't, as Stephen would say, never do plans longer than 90 days. You can say, I want to be here at the end of the year. I want $1 million. Okay, that's great. Blah, blah, blah. Your subconscious won't allow you to accept that anyway. So break that down into 90 days. Do 90-day plans. And if you do that, you do a 90-day, 90-day, by the end of the year, you've hit your $1 million, you're over your $1 million. So you've got to do it that way. You can't do these, some people say, I'll do a 5-year plan. What a waste of time. You should spend 5 minutes on that. Say, this is where I want to be. And then get back to the 90-day schedules. And get everybody to buy into it. Get your entire team to buy into it. Because they will, and they can. Again, the power of subconscious mind is very powerful, and people have no idea. So you've got to understand that you think that you're going to do this, and then you wonder why afterwards. Well, because you didn't believe it, right? Back to the belief thing, right? You didn't believe that. I mean, it's a year or 2 years or 5 years from now, you're not believing that, but you will in 90 days. So that's what we do, 90-day plans.
Nice. I think this is actually like kind of a movement of sorts. My wife was telling me about this. She's, this what did she call it? The 3-month calendar, like the 3-month year, like you're just plotting out.
It's been around repeating, for a long time. I think a lot of people are buying into it now. That's what it is. It's been around for obviously a long time, Stephen. This book, but I think that now it makes more sense, especially with technology. Let's face it, technology has changed everything. If you're doing any more than 90 days, then you're really missing the boat because you don't even know what's going to happen. Right. So
talk about disruption, right?
Talk about disruption is right, for sure. And the other thing is that's the other thing I would tell everybody: embrace it. Somebody asked me, "Do you use AI?" I'm like, what are you talking about? That's like asking me if I use the toilet. Well, of course, got like 6 AIs up there, and I use it all the time, like every single day. I bought into it. I think it's fantastic. But you got to embrace it. You got to look. People automatically will shift to, I don't need that, or that's no good, or whatever. Get educated first. There's so many great things out there that will help you grow. And make your business, quite frankly, easier and better. And so embrace all that stuff and adopt it and use it constantly.
Nice.
Yep.
Stephen, thank you so much for you taking the time to join us here on the Growth Ceiling Podcast. To our listeners out there, if you would like to hear more of these, please like, subscribe. Tell all your friends, share it, and if you found anything interesting, useful, get in touch with us. You can find out more about Stephen at https://dogood-society.com. That link will be in the description for this episode. Stephen, thanks again, and
Thanks,
we'll talk again soon.
You got it. Have a great one.
I'll be in touch. You too.
Yeah.
You too.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.